Prabhupada ki jai, Harinam Sankirtana Yajna ki jai, Anta Gaudiya Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Om. Jai Jai Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda.
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 Jaya Rita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavinda.
Jaya Rita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavinda.
Jai Jai Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jai Jai Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Rita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavinda.
Jaya Rita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavinda.
Gaura Bhaktavinda, Gaura Bhaktavinda.
Gaura Bhaktavinda. Gaura Bhaktavinda.
Jaya Rita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavinda.
Jaya Rita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavinda.
We're reading from the Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta, Madhya-līlā, chapter 11, entitled the Beda Sankirtan, pastimes, and text number 5. Sarvabhuma kahe e prataparudaraye utkanta hanache tuma mili barichaye. Sarvabhuma Bhattacharya said, there's a king named Prataparudaraye. He's very anxious to meet you, and he wants your permission. Karna hastadiya Prabhu Smaranarayan Sarvabhuma kahekena ayogya vachan. As soon as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard this proposal, he immediately covered his ears with both his hands and said, my dear Sarvabhuma, why are you requesting such an undesirable thing from me? Virakta sanyasi amar raja darashan stri darasan sama vishira bhakshan. Since I'm in the renounced order, it is as dangerous for me to meet a king as to meet a woman. To meet either would be just like drinking poison. Niskinchanasya bhagavad bhajanun mukasya param param jigamisur bhavasagarasya sandarsanam visayinam atajositam sa hahanta hanta vishabhakshanato pyasuda. Greatly lamenting, the Lord then informed Sarvabhuma Bhattacharya, alas, for a person who is seriously desiring to cross the material ocean and engage in transcendental loving service of the Lord without material motives, seeing a materialist engaged in sense gratification, or seeing a woman who is similarly interested is more abominable than drinking poison willingly. So this theme of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu not being willing to meet the king of Puri, Maharaj Prataparuda, is a theme that plays out throughout the latter part of the Madhya-līlā. Because at that time, Lord Chaitanya had returned to Jagannath Puri. The first 24 years of his life, Lord Chaitanya was known as Nimai, then he became Nimai Pandit, and then after that, he was known as Vishwambar, right, as he grew up, because Nimai is okay for a kid, but when you grow up, it's sort of... Vishwambar was his formal name, and then he took sannyas at age 24. And as he took sannyas at age 24, that was a huge event in 1510. He basically left Navadvip. And you cannot imagine what happened to Navadvip. Basically, it stopped to a dead halt. Right? Navadvip was full of life. Navadvip was the place where the devotees stayed with the Lord. There was the house of Srivas. And in the garden or in the courtyard of Srivas' house, there was a tree. And this tree would provide flowers in any season. It would just always be full of flowers. So that was a special tree. So all the Vaishnavas would go there because in some seasons it wasn't so easy to find flowers, but there always very nice flowers. So anyone who was doing puja was there in the morning at that tree collecting some flowers for their puja. And when Nimai had come back from Gaya and had offered the Shraddha ceremony on behalf of his father, he had changed. He had become a great devotee. So everyone would meet there at that tree and discuss how Nimai had suddenly become a great devotee, and it was a miracle. And then we see that gradually his identity becomes revealed as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And at that time, there is a certain group of devotees who are aware of his spiritual identity as the Supreme Lord. And this group of devotees is just every night meeting with Lord Chaitanya. And every night great kirtans are going on. And every night the devotees are just absorbed. And he is the life and soul of these devotees. Daily and nightly, they hardly sleep. They just basically are always associating with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then he leaves, takes sannyas, and it is Navadvip just overnight becomes like a great place of sorrow, a great place of separation, and Srivas cannot bear it. Srivas, he leaves Navadvip. He said, if the Lord is not here, then I don't want to be here. And he goes to Kumarhata, which is the place where Shivananda Sain and Kavi Karnapur are staying. Because they were such amazing devotees. Kavi Karnapur, the son of Shivananda Sain. Shivananda Sain, the one who was organizing he was the manager. He was organizing the parties that were going from Bengal to Jagannath Puri every year. Shivananda Sain, his son, Kavi Karnapur, had of course met the Lord from birth, sucked the toe of the Lord, and as a result, when he was 5 years old, he was writing like really deep spiritual poetry. In this way, what can be said? Kavi Karnapur, who tells us who is who. Because Lord Chaitanya is none other than Krishna, but this time coming to taste what it's like to be a devotee. And of course, when he tastes specifically the mood of the topmost devotee, Srimati Radharani. Therefore, being in the mood of Radharani, he is so absorbed in that mood of Radharani, he is virtually becoming Radharani. And as a result, he's becoming golden. Therefore, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Naya Anya. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes that in a book called Prema Samputa. In this book, Prema Samputa, it takes place in Vrindavan, in a place called Yavat. That is where Radharani lived after she was married to Abhimanyu, and with her in-laws who were like severely policing her. And as a result, it was very, very, very difficult to meet Krishna. And whenever there was an opportunity, these were stolen moments. Therefore, Yavat is a place of great separation. And it is said that one day a goddess appeared there in the courtyard of Radharani's house. And this goddess, somehow or other, was sitting there. Everyone was amazed. I mean, she was clearly not a lady from this earth. She was dressed in a way that doesn't exist, and her features were like beautiful beyond what exists on this planet. So everyone was quite amazed. Of course, Srimati Radharani is the goddess of fortune of the spiritual world, beyond any goddess from the heavenly planets. But anyway, this goddess appeared, and Radharani sent someone to welcome this wonderful visitor. However, when one girl went to invite her and please come inside, the lady did not answer. So then Radharani concluded she must be in a distressed state of mind, and that's why she's not speaking. So she went herself, and she said, I understand you are in a distressed state of mind. She said, but you must know that when actually you speak out to like-minded persons, then that gives a great relief when you are in a distressed state of mind. So, therefore, please tell us what is the cause of your distress. Then the goddess spoke. And the goddess said, he said, I can no longer see it. It is too painful. Radharani said, all right, okay. Tell us all about it. Right? He said, no, it is just too difficult, but since you are insisting, I will tell you. He said, like, I am a demigoddess, and we are in the sky, and we are witnessing everything, and I can no longer tolerate to see how Krishna is treating you. Radharani raised an eyebrow. Oh. And then the goddess said, yes, it's just like you are dedicating everything to him completely, your whole being, and see how he's reciprocating. Oh no, Srimati Radharani said, no, those things are just external. That is just all part of past times. She said, actually, myself and Krishna are never separated. Never. She said, I'm always thinking of Krishna, and Krishna is always thinking of me. And the goddess said, I understand. I understand very well, Srimati Radharani. I understand. I understand. You would like to believe that. I understand that. You would like to believe that he's always thinking of you. But the facts are a little different. No. Srimati Radharani said, no. Can someone tighten this one? No. No. Yeah, good. No, you don't understand. Actually, Krishna is always absorbed in thought of me, as much as I am always absorbed in thought of him. We are one. The goddess said, well, I won't believe that. Well, I will believe it if you simply, by thinking of Krishna, can bring him here. Since you are always one in thought, then if you think of him, then you should be able to bring him. Logically. All right, Srimati Radharani said. And she closed her eyes and she deeply meditated on Krishna. And then when she opened her eyes, Krishna was there. And then she said, "Oh, Krishna." And he said, "What happened to that goddess?" "Oh, she had to go." So, this is the Prema Samputa of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. It's a very nice story. And it is very much related to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because it really shows Radha and Krishna are non-different. They are one in thought. And therefore, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went into the mood, when he went into the mood of Radharani, he was Radharani. And so Krishna became golden. And there was the golden avatar, hidden for the first part of his life, then manifesting himself to some devotees as a grihastha, then coming out as sannyas, and then manifesting himself, right, as the most extraordinary personality. He danced in front of Lord Jagannath. And as he danced in front of Lord Jagannath, they were doing the Snan Yatra and they were bathing Lord Jagannath. And there was so much water. You know, they were bathing the big deities of Jagannath, many pots of water, and the sun was bright, and many drops of water were bouncing off Jagannath in all directions. And the most amazing thing, there was more water coming from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu than from Jagannath, from the tears that he was crying. How can so much water come from one person? I mean, there was a drain in the temple next to the Garuda Stamba. It said Lord Chaitanya would touch the Garuda Stamba, and as he would touch the Garuda Stamba, due to ecstasy, that Stamba, that column, that's, you know, Stamba means column. He would stand, and Garuda is on a column facing the deities. He would be next to the column, and as he held on to the column would melt in ecstasy. Therefore his fingerprints are in the column, so they say. So if you go to that Jagannath temple, if you somehow or other get in there, right? And if you have a secret camera hidden in glasses or something, you can take me some pictures of those fingerprints. I want them. Anyway, be careful. So somehow or other, and then so many tears flowing from his eyes that water was running in a drain. How is this all possible? So many transcendental symptoms in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, before this Snan Yatra pastime, had been touring South India, and he had just recently arrived in Jagannath Puri. At that time, all the devotees from Bengal who had been waiting for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they knew that he will soon arrive in Puri. The news had traveled fast, and somehow or other they walked the distance from Navadvip to Puri in record time. And they arrived at the same time as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And they had ecstatic kirtan all over the town. This kirtan was not ordinary. The chapter title is Beda Beda Sankirtan. It was Prem Sankirtan. Kirtan, of course, is a musical experience with mantra and so on. But this was not just mantra singing. This was something else. This was just pure love of God bursting from the heart of these devotees and then coming out of their mouths. Therefore, anyone who heard it had never heard anything like that. People came running. They came running to see it. And the whole town came running. There was no internet, nothing. It just by word of mouth. I mean, you know what's going on? No, what is going on? It's amazing, amazing kirtan. What's going on? Amazing, amazing, amazing. And people were just all coming to see. So in this way, the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were unfolding. There was a wave of ecstasy and everyone became swept up in it. But one person, Maharaj Prataparuda, the king said, everyone is getting the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Everyone is becoming swept up in this ecstasy. Everyone is tasting it. His enthusiasm, which is just so amazingly infectious, everyone becomes touched by it, transformed by it. Everyone is allowed to partake in his pastimes, except me. And so, Maharaj Prataparuda was denied to come before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He follows the other kid. He saw that that trick worked. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not want to meet the king, then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was the spiritual master of the king. He was a great Brahmana, a great scholar, and he was somehow or other a close associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You see, when we are going back to the beginning of the Madhya-līlā, now we are in the 11th chapter, but if we go back to the earlier chapters, then we see that after sannyas, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to go to Vrindavan, but he got lost due to ecstasy, lost the way, wound up in the wrong place. Nityananda brought him back to the house of Advaita-acharya. There he met all the devotees from Bengal, and including his mother. Although traditionally that was not looked upon as acceptable, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had taken Ekadanda sannyas. He had taken sannyas in the tradition of Sankara, where one has to completely break all ties with one's family. Still, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met his mother one more time. And at that time, his mother requested him to stay in Jagannath Puri, because he said, at least then I get some news from him. Because Puri and Navadvip are like two rooms in one house. The people from Puri always go to Navadvip, and the people from Navadvip always go to Puri. So like this. In this way, Puri became the stage of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. And there, in Jagannath Puri, the king was a devotee. And still Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not want to see him. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first came to Puri, he was very eager. He was very eager to reach there and to see the deity of Lord Jagannath. It is described that there are two stories leading up to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's arrival in Jagannath Puri. These two stories are the story of Kirachora Gopinath, the deity that stole a pot of sweet rice for Madhav and the Puri. The deity that showed that he was more than a statue. The deity that actually showed that he was alive. The next story is the story of Sakshi Gopal. And Sakshi Gopal is as the story two Brahmanas in Vrindavan, old rich one, young poor one. Young poor one serving old rich one very nicely. Old man says, oh, I want you to marry my daughter. He says, sir, it will not work. Your family will not be happy with this. You know, I'm just a poor, simple. No, you will marry my daughter. Sir, your family, look, who is boss in my house? Yes, you know, you will marry my daughter. All right, sir, if that is the case, then let us go before the deity and let the deity be a witness. So please repeat all of this before the deity. So the elderly Brahmin spoke in front of the deity and everything confirmed. Later, when the elderly Brahmana came back home, it was a big drama. The family threw a major tantrum. His wife said, if you will marry my daughter to that wretch, I will jump in the river and drown myself. I will take poison. So, you know, nowadays we call that blackmail. So who was actually the boss in the house? Then his son, being very strong, said that you will see. You know, he said, no, you know, you just let me handle this and I will take care of that person. And all you have to say is that you don't remember. So then the elderly Brahmana, to save his wife's life, agreed. Right? So, you know, when the young Brahmana came, said, okay, come for the hand of your daughter. And I said, like, well, you know, I mean, what is this? It's like, you know. Then his son came with a big stick and just chased the young Brahmana away. And then, you know, the young Brahmana went to the villagers. The villagers came back, you know, the whole group of people said they promised to marry. The villagers said, so, what is this? We promised that. So the old man just said, I can't remember. Then the son spoke up and said, this rascal gave my father, while they were in Vrindavan, he gave him datura. A heavy drug. He drugged him out, and then my father was completely confused of all this. And then after, the rascal said that he wanted to marry, you know, that my father promised that he could marry my sister. And he's just after the money, you know, stick. And all the villagers said, well, you know, poor Brahmana, rich Brahmana, I mean, could be. Then the young Brahmana said, I have a witness. A witness, okay. Call your witness. Yes, the deity is my witness. Oh, the son of the Brahmana said, yeah, call the deity as a witness. And of course, then he did call. He went to Vrindavan and he spoke to the deity and he said, you have to come. You have to come because you are a witness. And I need a witness now. And then the deity said, but you know, how can I walk? I am a deity, how can I walk? Then the young Brahmana said, if you can talk, you can walk. And in this way. So then the deity walked behind, all the way. And in this way, please turn off. In this way, the deity did come as a witness. Although he stopped just out of the village and no one saw the deity walk. But the people accepted it. Marriage took place and then the two Brahmanas both spent the rest of their life serving the deity. Now those deities are in places, the first deity, Kirachora Gopinath, is in Remuna near Balasore, between Bengal and Calcutta, about 1/3 of the way. Then just near Puri is the temple of Sakshi Gopal. So in this way, by hearing the stories of these deities, we are going from Bengal to Puri. He's just taken us from Bengal to Puri, almost there. And we're at Sakshi Gopal. And we also saw that the deities were not statues, but the deities are alive, Krishna themselves. And then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is there. And he is just seeing. He's approaching the bridge and he sees the chakra on top of the temple. And then he loses control and he runs ahead of everyone towards the temple, runs into the temple, comes into the temple, sees the deity. And we're already primed in 2 chapters. The deity is not a statue. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is seeing Krishna. And because he sees Krishna and he's in the mood of Radharani, he loses control. And he just wants to jump on the altar. And he wants to embrace the deities. And so, somehow or other, he faints. The guards raise the sticks. Oh, what is going on? And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he comes. He's the guru of the king. Okay, you don't mess with the guru of the king. Yes. So the guards say, yes, sir, anything. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Sarvabhauma stops these guards. And then he checks. And he notices that he's not dead. And that there is breath. He puts a little cotton swab and there is breath. He is alive. And he checks the symptoms and he knows the Shastra and he knows that this sannyasi is showing all the symptoms of ecstasy. So then they carry Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Chaitanya Bhagavat describes that when they were carrying Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that everyone wanted to carry him, and that it was like ants having a crumb of sugar, and that it went all over everyone's hands, and somehow or other, in this way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was carried and reached the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So we're remembering all this, how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first came to Puri. We remember how he turned Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya into a great devotee. We remember how shortly after he left and went on a long journey of South India, which took 6 years. And we remember that he met at the end, he met Ramananda Rai. And we remember that there, with Ramananda Rai, the mood of separation from Krishna was highlighted. And that came out the strongest. And that love in separation was the most intense. And that was experienced by the gopis, specifically by Srimati Radharani in its deepest form. Next moment, we're in Puri. Next moment, there is this Snan Yatra, and we know Snan Yatra is 2 weeks before Rath Yatra. Rath Yatra then is coming up. It's due to happen any moment now. We already had Snan Yatra, now where is Rath Yatra? Rath Yatra. And then, next, there is Rath Yatra, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is dancing in front of the chariot, jumping high above everyone, just way up in the air, spinning around so fast like no one can do. Yeah. And then, yes, he's in the mood. He's in the mood of Radharani, pulling the chariot of Krishna from Kurukshetra back to Vrindavan. And that same thing, that's the meaning of Rath Yatra we're seeing there. So there's double viraha. There is the separation from Radharani for Krishna and from Krishna for Radharani. Therefore, there's strong separation in the internal meaning of Rath Yatra. So all this is happening there. And meanwhile, in the background, there is this pastime of the king who is denied. Now, the king's guru has become the disciple of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he is a great scholar. I mean, Sarvabhauma means the whole world. The whole world. He's got that title, Sarvabhauma. He's not just a Bhattacharya. Bhattacharya, all right, we know Bhattacharya is Brahmin, he is an Acharya, he is a teacher, that's very good, but he is Sarvabhauma, the whole world. No, there's no one. He can just defeat the whole world. Such a scholar. He's the disciple of Mahaprabhu. So, a close disciple. So, the king, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he says, like, if you don't ask Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I will no longer be able to live. So, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, yeah, I can see this king is very sincere. I mean, okay. All right, I will speak to him. And he approaches Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And now, we just read these verses where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is covering his ears and says that he doesn't want to hear this, he cannot hear this. He said this is like taking poison. There's no question of associating with the king. And kings, nowadays, see, everyone lives like king. Yeah? That's modern times. See, we made progress. I used to buy marble in India and then would go into the Rajasthan desert and in a small place called Makrana. And it's like, if you thought today was hot, this is nothing. This is nothing. Nothing. Chalis, 40. Even in Vrindavan, we laugh at 40. Little warm wind, yes. This is nothing. In Vrindavan, we have to loo when it goes in your ear. Some people die. Brain gets cooked. 49 in Vrindavan. But in the Rajasthan desert, my hottest day, the hottest day in my life was 59. That's the hottest I've been, 59. It was a bit warm. After that, I went to Vrindavan, and it was only 47, nice and cool. Anyway, that's off the point, right? But, in that village, Makrana, I had an interesting experience. Because there we would stay in the palace of the king. And, there it was, a palace, walls, this, that, some towers and everything, a palace. Right? And we were his guests, we stayed in the palace of the king. And there were cottages also around the palace. But now things had changed. Previously, marble was only used for temples and for palaces of kings. Nowadays, everybody has marble in the bathroom in India. Yeah? There's marble everywhere. That's how it is. Marble all over the place. And now, those cottages, they've turned into palaces that are bigger than the palace of the king. Yeah? Because now everybody is king. And those who have not yet got a palace, they'll come to Australia to get one. And there everyone has a palace. Right? Oh yes. So in this way, yes, we are all royalty. Good morning, Your Majesty. What would you like for your brekkie this morning? Well, I have some varieties of fruits. Oh, fruits, I don't know. Well, we've got local fruits, which are national fruits, right? Or we got some imported fruits, all right? Okay, what's the imported stuff about, Well, we've got oranges from Spain, and we got strawberries from the UK. Oh, some of those, yeah, all right. And we got pineapples from Brazil. Well, Yeah, I'll have some of those as well. Thanks. Anything we can have. And as a result, now everyone is a king. But at that time, 500 years ago, a king stood out. Regular people, a little cottage, that's it, bas, finished, simple, yes. A cow, a buffalo, a well, some pots of water, some clay pots. They would cook in clay pots. They didn't have dishwashers, but, they also didn't have pot washers. Clay pots, cook in a clay pot, very healthy, and afterwards, hey, no dishwashing, just chuck them out. There you go, right? Eat from leaf plates, that's also easy, right? So those are the days, easy and all eco and everything, good for the climate and whatever. Right? So, but Maharaj Prataparuda, he was the king. He stood out. He lived in a palace and no one else did. Of course, some had aristocratic houses. Oh yes, Kasi Misra had. Oh yes, he had quite a house. If we go there today, we can see. It is there where there's the deity of Gopal Guru Goswami, who was the disciple of Vakreshwar Pandit. Vakreshwar Pandit, he was one of the associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, wasn't he? Yes, I heard about him. It said that Vakreshwar Pandit once danced for 72 hours. That was quite something. A bit of a marathon, 72 hours. It was like impressive. Anybody ever tried that? And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, oh, Vakreshwar Pandit, if I would have two like you are like my wing. If I would have two like you, I could fly. Vakreshwar Pandit was compared to a wing because his dancing made you fly. His dancing was not just 72 hours, a little shuffle. He was dancing seriously in such a way, with so much fervor and vigor that he made everybody dance. Right? That's how it is. When there's a good dancer, then everyone starts to. Right? I bet you look like a bit of a dancer, right? I think you are. It looks like you could jump quite high. Higher than him. I think so. Huh? Who can jump the highest? Let's see. Should we have a competition? Of course, might be someone from left field who would fly up in the air above all the others. But Vakreshwar danced in a way that no one had seen. So here is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, along with his ecstatic associates. It was no longer of this world. The happiness that lived in that group was not just that sometimes they were laughing in an intoxicated manner and that other times they were rolling on the ground and the tears were shooting from their eyes and that they could dance for 72 hours. Not only that, but they were effulgent like the sun. They were like very effulgent personalities. All of them. All of them. Not only Vakreshwar Pandit. No, all of them. That's mentioned in Madhya-līlā chapter 7. All the associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were effulgent like the sun. So it was an extraordinary thing. And that's why there are so many books written about this era. We should understand whatever happened there in Bengal was a transcendental earthquake. It wasn't just like, here we are, 197 Dank Street. right? Oh yes, Albert Park, right? Oh yes, and here we are, the temple. Da, 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 da. Haribol, 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 Haribol. This is the Hare Krishna temple. Welcome, folks. Right? Yes, it's a nice place, and people have heard about it. And the council also, they've restricted the parking and so many things. It's known that a lot of people come there. It's a popular place. But will books be written about us? Right? I mean, books about the whole thing, what's happening here in Dank Street, you know? And then all the devotees came to Mangalarti, and and they blew 3 conches. Okay, that's a good beginning. And then they croaked and sang Sansara Dava, Madhya-līlā Loka. And the kids were running around. And it was nice, but it wasn't like the Caitanya-caritāmṛta. It's not like those descriptions. Those descriptions, not only from Krishnadas Kaviraj in the Caitanya-caritāmṛta, but also in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Vrindavan Das Thakur, he also describes. And also Kavi Karnapur, he also describes. And other biographers, Murari Gupta, he describes. And they all, independently, they were not all from the same geographic location either, right? They were like distances between them, serious, and there were no planes, no cars, no internet communication, nothing. So these books sort of grew independently, and they're all testifying to the same, an extraordinary reality, something extraordinary. And today, what is going on is only the echo of that. The echo of that kirtan has reached Melbourne 500 years later. Yeah. 500 years later, the echo of that kirtan reached here, and it's just, not only here, in Dank Street, but also in town, right? Everywhere. Yeah. The Haris, are here, right? And where does it all come from? But it was, where does this come from? The first time I saw them in Amsterdam. That was intense. I mean, I looked at them and they were jumping, and I looked at them and I just thought like, wow. The ultimate emblem of religious fanaticism. I haven't seen anything like this. When I saw it, it's like, watch out. Ooh. Keep distance, okay. At the same time, I was watching. Yeah, it was intense. So, I was quite convinced these people, they were like way out there. I mean, way out there. I had no idea where it came from. I didn't know how it all came about. All right, eventually I figured out it came from India. But even in India, all right, in India you see ropes, right? Oh yes, there's lots of sadhus walking around in bright orange. That's not uncommon in India. That's sort of part of the landscape. You have the Kumbh Mela, very famous, biggest religious gathering, lots of pigs and all that, right? I mean, yeah, you can, it's seen a bit of that. I mean, but where do you see such enthusiasm? And why Western people also now? And then, like Prabhupada said, it's like waves going up and down. A wave from India, And that wave from India was not external. It's like, I'm sitting here, all orange and with flowers around my neck, although I have a sensitive nose and I'm not so fond of flowers, to tell you honestly. Now you know. And I'm sitting here, I got clay all over my face, and you know, I mean, that's not considered respectable in a good Dutch family. It's not what you do, right? It's not really what you do at all. So what was it? Was it the philosophy that convinced me? Well, I like philosophy. And the philosophy, it made some sense. The other day, we had a talk, and we were talking in front of a group of people about the how do you know question. You know what I mean? How do you know? How do you know? How do you know Krishna is God? How do you know? How do you know? I mean, do you know? I mean, you really know? I mean, first thing is, did you see him? Did you? Did you? Did you? No. Second of all, okay, you didn't see him, right? Did you actually, well, at least have some sort of experience? You believe in a spiritual world? Did you see that? So, you are all believers, isn't it? Why? Why? Just because of tradition? Yeah, you're from India, easy. Krishna, Indian deity, traditional, Bansriwala, very nice. Yes. You are just, and then you come to foreign country and there is nothing there, no temples and nothing to eat also, and then you get nice sabji and puri. And then they tell you Krishna, Krishna, and then you go first sabji puri, and later you chant Krishna, Krishna. Is that how it went? Why you believe in all of this mythology? Huh? All right, there's a doctor speaking.
Guru Sadhu Shastra.
Okay.
And Krishna has got 60,008 wives.
Yeah, okay.
And he can dance with 3 billion gopis.
Okay. Thank you. I don't know if that was convincing, doctor. You know, let me talk to you a little bit, doctor. You know, there's a movie called Oh My God. Have you seen that one? Oh. Anyway, they show like one man, he's a murtiwala, he sells deities in a shop in Mumbai. And the deities are nicely put there and everything, and then, he comes, and one customer comes and he shows him all the deities. Here's one deity, oh yes, this one. And there is one standing right in the middle, and it's Krishna. But he never points to that one. He points, this one is nice, that one is nice, good price. So finally the man says, well, what about that one? You know, what about that one? He says, oh, no, that one is special. That one I cannot sell. No, I cannot sell. That one I got from an old sadhu in the Himalayas. And it is like, you know, old deity, and very powerful. I cannot sell. said, no. Actually, the sadhu made me promise not to sell. But, he said, I can only sell if there is a sign. No, you take this one, you take this one. Then he says, oh, you hear? You hear? And the customer says, what? He says, listen here. Here, you heard that? You heard it? You hear? Flute. So the man listens and then he says, yes, I hear. So okay. So then he sells him the deity for a good price and he walks away with the deity, like drives away. And then the salesman tells his helper to get another one from the go down, puts it in the same place, you know. Anyway, that kind of, it starts like that. And then you come to these, and then the next scene, he's picking up his son who is at a religious function, and there are all these gurus. And there is one, and they all are there like gods on earth, and like everyone bows at their feet. And all the gurus are assembled. And one is eating bananas, and it's like, oh. And everyone is throwing money at their feet, and everyone is worshipping them. And it's like, you know. And of course, doctor, you also may do that. But we are modern people, you know. We are a different generation. And we had modern education, and we don't just believe these things anymore, is it? So Guru, how can you trust Shastra? I mean, these are books, you know. And modern science has established that these books are written by many different people over a long period of time. So it's just came about as products of a local culture, you see. Yes. What else did you have? Sadhu.
80,100.
Well, you first had the sadhus. All these sadhus, they all smoke ganja. Everybody knows. That's mythology. Yeah, so but then we came to Deng Street, and something was there. Not only philosophy, there also was a level of enthusiasm, a taste. There's also taste. If it was just argument and logic, then that was followed by argument and logic. And then there was a system of belief. And the system of belief was actually consistent and showed noble values. Noble values, like it says, Krishna is Suridam Sarvadehinam. He is the well-wisher of all living beings. Then it says the devotee also becomes the well-wisher of all living beings. Then the devotee is also then has a standard of happiness, and that standard of happiness is that the happiness of the individual includes the happiness of all. So that's part of the belief system. That's pretty good. That's noble. So if one investigates the belief system, one will find many noble values. And gradually it gets convincing. Then you get answers like Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. But, we can attack you with counter-arguments. if we wish. But when we check out in a broader way the experience, because there is something stayed alive from 500 years ago, something is still there. 500 years ago, that reality described in this Caitanya-caritāmṛta is not gone. There is still some magic here. There is still something going on. Where do you find such dedication today? This place is full now, and it is full every day in the early morning. Now you may say, yes, 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 but these are Indian people, Indian temple. Excuse me, but you know, in your Mauritius, you also have Indian temple. And you know, early in the morning, that means around 6 o'clock or 5:30, then you hear this sound. Plunk, 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 plunk. Om Jai Jagadish Hare. And it's a tape. It's a tape. They turn on the tape. Now, and I even wonder if they put a timer on it, that it goes on automatic. So even no one has to turn it on anymore. And the guy just stays in bed and rolls over. Yeah? And India's the same. Tapes everywhere. Gayatri mantra, you know, coming from the tape. Every morning. Some tambura begins to play and tape is playing. Tape laga liya! Oh, bhul gaya! Aare yaar, to kya ho raha hai? For those who don't understand Hindi, it's like, did you turn on the tape? Oh my God, I forgot all about it. Yeah, so where do we find this dedication? Why? I mean, I first thought it was fanaticism, but then I realized that when I looked a little deeper and beyond the external features, then I saw there's a lot of dedication. Where does all that dedication come from? Where does that come from? That it is the echo of that saying, of that dedication that existed 500 years ago there in Navadvip and in Jagannath Puri. And now we understand, therefore, if today is a lecture about the Caitanya-caritāmṛta. Now the lecture began in Jagannath Puri and went back to Navadvip, a little flashback. Then via Navadvip we came to Puri, did a little tour of South India, and then we came back to Puri, and then we had Rath Yatra and all these things, right? We went on a whole journey through the life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then suddenly we wound up in 197 Dank Street. You know, my God, right downtown here in Straya, you know. I mean, jeez, what's going on? God, what's all this doing here, you know? This was a chapel. I mean, really, this was a chapel, you know. So, well, you know, why did the Indians come? Because they like warm weather. You know? So they came to Australia, yeah, of course, you know. Yeah. But generally, in India, people, they will go to the mandir and they will do something like in front of a deity and then throw something on the altar and come back 1 week later, if they come that often. The old people, they come every day, say some prayer, something. They chant that. I'm sure you can do it. All of you can. But where does this enthusiasm come from? Right? Because early in the morning at 4:30 this place is actually quite full. Lots of people, and they come from far. I mean, why? So that enthusiasm is still alive. That dedication is still found. And Prabhupada, of course, carried it. He carried it as the Founder-Acharya in the Western world. But he wasn't the origin of it. And his guru carried it. Bhaktivedanta Thakur carried it. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur carried it. Like that. Narottam Das Thakur carried it. We can see a whole tradition of how it was carried forward. And here it is today. Therefore, yes, Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. But the proof of the pudding is in the eating. And then we can see it's a pretty good pudding. And that is the bottom line. The bottom line is, where do we see such genuine devotion? Right? And why do we see such genuine devotion? Why do we see such dedication? Why? Because there is a special ecstasy preserved in this movement. And that we find described in detail in the Shastra, in the Caitanya-caritāmṛta. Okay, now any questions, comments? Otherwise.
Would you like to say something about the meeting of Untitled with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in that garden?
You mean, not you mean Prataparuda, the king? Well, the king was denied the meeting again and again. But eventually, the king served a dear devotee. So when the king served a dear devotee, then the king got mercy. Because then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu agreed to meet the king's son, a prince. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he saw that prince, the prince was handsome and had kind of long arms and darkish complexion and lotus-like eyes. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was reminded of Krishna. He embraced that prince, and the prince jumped in ecstasy. And then went back to his father, and when his father saw that his son had become so ecstatic, he embraced him. And then the love of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just like hit the king. So the prince was like a messenger of transcendental ecstasy. And that was the beginning. And then they made a plan that that during Ratha Yatra, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would rest in the garden near Gundicha, Jagannath Vallabha Gardens, that there the king should go in regular clothes of a commoner and then should recite the 10th canto of Bhagavatam. And so the king did. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became ecstatic. He didn't know who was speaking. He didn't know it was the king, but he bestowed his mercy upon the king and blessed him. And in this way, the king got the mercy, and at the same time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu retained his integrity as a sannyasi externally. And why is it that modern sannyasis are meeting kings or heads of state who are not even devotees? Is that allowed? How about that? Yes, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was only following that because of the current practice, which all came from Ekadanda sannyas. Sannyasas predominated in those days by Shankaracharya's standard. But a Vaishnava sannyasi can meet a king because we can engage the king. No problem. He can do service. Then even the king can be engaged in the service of Krishna. So ultimately, that is the ultimate understanding. Even a king, although abominable can be engaged in the service of Krishna. Even Trump did some service, in case you didn't know. But in the past, once the Rath Yatra cart was stored on the land of Trump, next to the Trump Tower, many years ago. So even Trump did some devotional service. Yeah, so miracles do happen. It's 9 o'clock, so I end. I thank you for spending the evening here. Let us take the last darshan and call it a day. Hare Krishna. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai.